It's the semifinals, and we need to optimize our lineups the best we can. Who's the dead weight we need to cut, and who are we holding on to? I got that and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Matthew Ane. You can find me on Twitter X or wherever you call it, Matthew_Ane. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the bell below to subscribe to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. Also, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple or Spotify, wherever you may listen. And if you want a little bit more than what Dom and I offer on this podcast, check us out on Subtext and become a member of the Diamond Club. You get a free 2 weeks by joining, and links in the description below. I'll describe a little bit more of what that is entailed later in the show. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use the code LOCKEDONMLB and get $20 off your first purchase. All right, guys, I got a good one today. It's going to be a lot of drop it like it's hot. It's going to be a lot of guys that, we have questions on and things like that. And I tried to cater and pick names that honestly will, essentially be the most, what's the word I'm looking for here? I guess like controversial, or guys you're struggling to drop, right? Do we really want to let go of this guy? Do we really want to hang on? What's the upside? How are we only going to affect the next 2 weeks of baseball? And this episode, some of these guys you got to take with a grain of salt because, dynasty leagues, keeper leagues, they may not be as applicable to you, and you can just fast forward. There'll be timestamps you can just click on by, but, there's other guys out there that, in redraft leagues where, this is going to be the most relevant part of the day. And, we may need to cut this dead weight. We're going to tackle that. And the first name up is actually somebody that I'm really disappointed in, is Andres Munoz of the Seattle Mariners. And man, I just expected a hell of a lot more. Munoz only managed to get 19 saves on the year. And, even though the ERA is a 2.22 with a 101 whip on the year, it's just not my favorite. This last month he has a 8.59 ERA. The last 2 weeks, a 10.13 ERA with a 113 whip. The last outing was an 18 ERA. He hasn't looked good. He hasn't gotten a save in literally 3 weeks. He's gotten one save over a total of a month, and it's just slowing down. And I don't think he's carrying a lot of value. I'm getting ready to drop him myself, unfortunately. He's a full-blown drop it like he's hot. I just look at him and I just got to go.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Oh, boy. Sorry, that was not supposed to loop. But ultimately, I look at him and I go, oh, man, this is really painful. I drafted him pretty reasonably high, but at the same time, he's not getting me saves. There's guys like Estevez out there, which is more highly owned, things like that. But there's other guys popping up that are going to be able to carry you and get you a save and chip one in. Whereas Munoz, it's been 3 weeks. Bro, time to go. He's about a 7 on the Richter scale. Honestly, if there's no better options, then yes, I'm going to hold on. But if there is options, even to just stream for the weekend, I'm doing it. Munoz is just dead weight at this point. I'm cutting him and dropping him like he's hot. This next guy here, this one's also painful, but he was a bust. This is Nolan Arenado. Arenado has been good at times. He's been serviceable. He's been good, but at the same time, what has he done for us lately? This is all that matters. And this is a key thing. It's, you got to look at it like a business, right? What have you done for me lately? Prove your worth. How are you going to help me win this week? And honestly, over the last 2 weeks, he's done me 9 runs, a bomb, 4 ribs, batting .222. Now, the 9 runs are nice, but that's over 2 weeks. Yes, last week it was 6. This week, 3 runs, no bombs, a rib, and batting .176. That's killing you on the week. You have to bench him. It's a dead spot. And it's not like he's had the most impressive year. He has 63 runs on the season, 15 bombs on the season, 64 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting .266. The Nolan Arenado of the old days aren't there anymore. And even last year, he's just not even on pace. He's only about 41 at bats shy of of last year's total at bats, and he's about 11 home runs shy, 30 ribs shy, a total stolen base spot shy, but right on par with his batting average, and about 8 runs off. So Nolan Arenado took another step backwards, and I just don't think there's better days. He's another one that we're gonna. Can you guess it?
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
So, Nolan Arenado, he's a full-blown 10 for me. Honestly, if there's a streamer out there, I am picking somebody else up. I'm done with him. I don't think he has any relative value at this point for helping you win. Now, I may be crazy. Oh, Matt, you might think I'm crazy, but at the same time, like, let's look at the underlying stats too. Ex-WOBA of 296, ex-batting average of 255. That's another 10 points lower than what he's actually doing. His slug is at 361. Average exit velocity is at an all-time low at 86.1 miles an hour. He's barreling only 3% of the time, only creating hard contact about 30% of the time. His launch angle is pretty sweet still, but the bat speed is way down at 70.8. He's chasing a little bit more, and the only thing he's really doing successfully is not really whiffing and not really striking out, but he's not really walking either. So it's just a lot of negativity surrounding Nolan Arenado and a guy that I really just don't want on my team at this point. Now, he could get picked up, but let him be a landmine on somebody else's team. I rather him perform for somebody else that hopefully I'm not playing and then be dead weight on my team and my bench, clocking it up when I can go and pick up any of the guys Dom mentioned on Monday that is definitely performing and can actually contribute and help you win this week. There's only 1 week if you don't win this week, and that's this week. You might as well walk away from this week feeling like, okay, cool. I put everything I had into it. I worked my tush off, and hey, if I came up short, I came up short. But I guarantee, you do, and you go and drop guys that we're going to drop. I'm telling you to drop today. You pick up guys that are streaming, that are worth streaming for the week. You're going to be like, okay, cool. I did it. I got past this. Time to win a championship. What do I got to do next? Because long-term value is no longer here. You got 2 weeks left in total if you even make it to next week. What's the point of holding on to these guys? Unless you're in a keeper league, but even then, Nolan Arenado is not even in a consideration for a keeper league. And for Dynasty, he's at the end of your bench at this point. Yeah, he's there because, hey, he's a third baseman. Maybe you haven't performed yet. Haven't been able to replace him yet. But you know what? It is what it is. I don't really care. He's somebody for the offseason we're going to have to talk a lot about for Dynasty leagues. But Nolan Arenado has zero value and zero contribution going on. Drop him like he's hot. But let's move on. Let's talk about this next guy here, Nestor Cortez. This is some unfortunate news, like really unfortunate. They moved him into the bullpen. He got a win out of the bullpen the other day, which is, cool for him. But, Nestor is somebody I'm really disappointed. Still 73% owned, too. I'm baffled by this, especially with him moving to the bullpen. I just, come on, man. I don't know if this is going to be permanent, if it's just one start, but, I don't see anything lined up for him to start anytime soon. Let's tune in here. So I'm sorry, I'm trying not to keep the airwaves quiet here, but it looks like Cortez piggyback Clark Schmidt on Saturday, later for the return on Saturday ladder, return from injury list, but unclear as to 2 pitches and deployed. Let's see here. It's not like he's been great anyway. He's had a couple bad starts here and there. I mean, I just want to see what this whole bullpen situation is, essentially. If Nestor's going to stay in this bullpen, which it looks like it may not be, then okay, cool. Let me pause it. Nestor Cortez is a starting pitcher. There is no reason to have him in there. He has had a lot of bad outings, let's put it that way. You look at his track record over the last, month and a half. 6 innings against Washington, had a good start. St. Louis, he wasn't able to handle himself at 11.25 ERA. Had a good outing against Cleveland, Washington White Sox, but then got lit up against the Angels, lit up against Philly, lit up against Boston, lit up against Tampa, lit up against Tampa. Then had a good outing against Boston, lit up by Toronto. Atlanta, he was able to kind of hold down. Baltimore was able to hold down, and Kansas City was able to kind of hold down. So it's been a mixed bag of tricks. Bullpen hasn't been the greatest, so they instead of finding other options, they just moved Nestor Cortez to it. That just shows the confidence that I had of him. So I don't know how I'm feeling, but ultimately, if he's not going to start this week, You need to start this weekend, and it's the difference of winning. And he's the only guy that is feasible to drop. I'm dropping him. And I don't think the other teams out there are going to pick him up just based off of the fact that he's going to. We don't know his future just as much as you. That's the whole point of dropping him. So I'm like on the 5. I'm like right on the middle. Again, if it calls for it, if he's not starting this weekend, say see you later. Nestor Cortez just needs to just be gone if he's not going to produce the starting pitcher. He's probably not even going to get the save. So there's zero opportunity for you there. Nestor Cortez probably needs to be moved on from. But let's move on. Guys, coming up next, I got awesome names for you. I got guys like CJ Abrams, what to do with him. Justin Verlander, what are you doing with him? Is Walker Buehler worth a hold, or are we flat out cutting him? We'll talk about that and more coming up next. Game Time is the authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on Game Time app actually go down as it gets closer to first pitch, with killer deals and last minute deals all in one pricing, views from your seat, and lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets for games. Last minute deals save up to 60% off buying last minute sports, concerts, comedy, and theater, and so much more. Flash deals, which are pretty sweet, save even more on exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. Zone deals, you save even more when you choose a section like Game Time. Choose a seat for you, all-in-one pricing. Toggling through this feature shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat view, so this is pretty sweet. You get a panoramic view of your seat before you buy the tickets, which is awesome. Make sure you're not sitting behind that pole. Lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you up to 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today and create an account and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms again. Create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Are you watching Fox Sports and ESPN on your TV all day? Have you had to turn down the volume without all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or free on the Amazon Fire TV channel app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. As the season unfolds, rely on our dynamic content, get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy leagues by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext. Your path to victory begins. And subscribe now, and you'll end up getting a free 2 weeks. It's the last 2 weeks to make that push. You want to be ahead of everybody and, figure out who you should prioritize by adding. Might as well check us out. Get the free 2 weeks. I promise you're going to want to stick around because right after the season ends, we roll in our off-season mode. We start prepping for next year. That's what you want to do. You don't ever want to let fantasy sport, and I treat this with football too. Second the season ends, I already start working on next year. I write down guys that I don't want to forget, guys I need to keep an eye on, what's their progress, injuries, all this stuff. And we got you covered day in and day out. We're going to be rocking out 5 days a week all throughout October, November. Hit 3 days, December and January, and then we rock back again in February. And you know what? It sounds like so far away, but it's really not. That's the scariest part. We get about 5-6 months off, and then we're rolling again. So you don't want to miss on any of the content. I promise you're going to be ahead of your leagues by staying with us all off season long, and by doing so with the Diamond Club. But all right, let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving. This next guy here is going to be a fun one here. CJ Abrams of the Washington Nationals, and he's on this show for one reason and one reason only. Few comments have been coming up, and what do you do with him, right? Abrams is somebody you invested pretty highly. He's somebody that will get picked up if he's dropped. And you know what? He does pose, a threat to you in all honesty, because the kid can steal bases. He has 8 stolen bases on the month. He hasn't really stolen too many over the last couple of weeks. Don't get me wrong. And his batting average is completely in the toilet at a 179. He's really slowed down from his, big start of the season, which he kind of was absolutely killing it. But Abrams has slowed down. So I'm at a 2. I can't really let go of him. I've mulled this over a little too much, and, I can't seem to just part ways with him. And reason being, it's the sprint speed. I'm going to get a stolen base. And if the batting average is resurrected, I'm going to get that too. CJ Abrams is a valuable fantasy asset. Why are we dropping him? You can't. And again, he'll be dropped and you'll be upset if he's used against you. And that'll be the difference of the steals category. Now, I may not be starting him, every single week. I might be a little bit more on the, okay, who is he facing? Is it a lefty? Is it a righty? Is it a strong pitcher? Is it an okay pitcher? Can I get away with that essentially? You know, you need to be a little bit more careful on who you're starting him against. I think that is a reasonable request, and a reasonable way of handling him, but you can't really drop the kid, unfortunately. So when it comes to Abrams, we're going to hold on. We're going to make sure that, we're not dropping him and letting him hit the waivers. If he's dropped, he's somebody you might want to even consider adding. But again, it's a matter of, do you have the depth and things like that? He's down 4% where he was 99% owned. He's now 95. In those, I guess, those shallow leagues. In the shallow league, maybe like, God forbid you're playing in a 6-man league, but that's probably the league I'd probably be able to drop him in, or even an 8-man. But other than that, he's staying on my team to the day of the championship. But anyway, CJ Abrams, that's about a 2. Let's move on. Let's talk about Justin Verlander. Verlander, man, shell isn't even the word. He has been bad, and he has been very bad this last month, and even on the season. Last outing was a 24 ERA. Over the last 2 weeks, a 12.08 ERA, and on the month, a 9.68. That's through 17 innings pitched. He went 3 innings in his last start, the start before that 4, the start before that 5, and had one nice start against Boston on August 21st. Justin Verlander just doesn't look like he's, going through. Doesn't heal the same way he does. Things are just not coming. So when it comes to Justin Verlander, he is a full-blown.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
I'm just saying bye. I can't even do it. And there's even data that supports me saying let's drop him. All his pitches are flat. Like, they're so flat, you can't even call them mosquito bites. It's just bad. My guy might be trying to stuff his bra with a little tissue paper because it's just bad. Everything's flat as hell. xERA is at a 4.11. Yes, it's a little bit better than what his ERA is on the season at the 5.30, but still, X batting average is at 2.39. Fastball velocity is down at 93.5. You go and you look at the year before, and my apologies. Let me hit. It was at a 94.3. Whereas now it's 93.5, down a whole mile per hour. Average exit velocity sitting at 89 miles an hour. Not getting people to chase, not getting the whiff, not striking guys out, really just walking dudes too, allowing guys to barrel up, not even producing ground balls. The only thing he's not doing is diluting how often people create hard contact. So Verlander, I think, is washed. The dude is 41 years old. Father Time catches up and he's undefeated. So when it comes to Justin Verlander, he's a full-blown 10 for me. Just say sayonara, see you later, because there's no reason to carrying him through the playoffs. He's not going to take you to the promised land. He's just going to prevent you from getting there. He's literally the friend that's trying to take the girl home, and trying to make sure you don't get any. So Justin Verlander, see you later, bro. It's a full-blown 10. But all right, guys, coming up next, I got our last 3 guys here. Awesome names. I got Walker Buehler. What to do with him? Jackson Holliday, are we still holding hope? Are we letting go? And Tristan Casas, is he worth being patient with because of the upside that he can possibly pose? I don't know. We'll find out that and more coming up next. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Exploring my skills on PrizePicks this season adds an extra layer of excitement to daily fantasy sports. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 really fast. PrizePicks is incredibly user-friendly. I can make my selections, submit my entries in less than 60 seconds. And as the host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, I got some great picks to get you started off with. Offer Ronel Blanco to have higher than 5.5 strikeouts as his next start. Offer Brandon Marsh to have higher than 0.5 total hits in his next outing. And offer Corey Seager to have higher than 0.5 home runs in his next game, which that is old. I apologize. So I'm going to swap that out for a good old Juan Soto. I need to update my ad. I apologize. Download the PrizePick app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Again, Use the code Locked On MLB on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly when you play. $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. So, guys, we're back in it. And like I promised right before the break, Mr. Walker Buehler of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Man, he's a guy I actually had some high hopes for. I figured, okay, we come back. We're going to be healthy. And we're going to do things. Now, he's a little bit on the lower end of terms of being ownership. But at the same time, I feel like we need to hang on to him. And we need to say, hey, I mean, not hang on to him. I feel like at one point I was like that. And it was like, hey, let's see what he's got. But this last month, oh my God, bro. 22 innings pitched, 18 Ks, a 6.14 ERA, 1.86 whip. And he hasn't really been able to figure it out. He had 2 good starts out of 6. And they're against Baltimore, which is surprising, and the Angels. But everybody else is just putting him down. You know, Walker Buehler is returning from injury and clearly is at a deficit. And all his underlying stats are screaming, help me, because it's bad. XERA of 5.20, X batting average is 279. The only thing that's good is his fastball velocity at 95.1 miles per hour. Average exit velocity is at 89 miles an hour. He's not really chasing, not creating the whiff, not getting Ks, walking guys, allowing guys to barrel up, allowing a lot of hard contact, not really even creating ground balls. It is ugly. Man, Walker Buehler, I feel like you're a shell of a man that you were, and I hope that next year is better. I do know that I'm going to be trying to target him just based off of the value we're going to get Walker Buehler for. But if you can't guess it, he is a full-blown.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
It's not a celebration bump. He's just a little.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Because he's gone. He should have already been gone. The fact that he's 54% owned, that's ugly. He's not doing anything for you. Unless you're in like a 16-man league where you just really need the depth, and he's the only really name out there, then yeah, I can understand what you're doing and why you have him. But man, let's just pray there's better options out there. Hopefully we can get you somebody better. Walker Buehler, you got to say sayonara. But let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. Jackson Holliday of the Baltimore Orioles. Now, he had that great week after being recalled from the minors. That was absolutely stellar. We were like, oh, wow, this is the number 1 prospect. Here we go. And man, has he really fell off again. You know, season numbers are okay. Not really. 25 runs, 5 bombs, 21 ribs, 3 stolen bases, batting 175. On the month, 10 runs, no bombs, 8 ribs, 3 stolen bases, batting 178. Even over the last 2, 6 runs, no bombs, 2 ribs, 3 stolen bases, batting 186. Redrafts leagues, he's a full-blown drop. He's not even a question. It's just I'm smashing this.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Because Jackson Holliday has no business being on your redraft league. Keeper league, you're in last place, and I don't need you're just listening to this to keep up with baseball so you don't forget any names. That's great. But if you're in the playoffs, and you need the spot, I'd rather win now than hold on to next year. Because what's next year going to get you? Nothing. Puts no cash in your pocket, puts no bragging rights. You don't get to dunk on everybody on your league. It does nothing for you. And that's exactly what Jackson Holliday is doing. Absolutely nothing for your team. He's actually hurting you. It's a negative effect. So this is a, negative investment in Jackson Holliday. So I'm going to flat out say, drop him like he's hot and say, see you later, because there is no reason to carry this dude. Just flat out see you later. All right, next guy here, Tristan Casas of the Boston Red Sox. Now, Casas obviously has been hurt for most of the season. A lot of people are hoping, okay, he'd pick up right where he left off and, see all the upside that, we were all waiting for essentially. And it is bad this last month. 8 runs, 2 bombs, 9 ribs, batting 247. Last 2 weeks, 2 runs, no home runs, 3 ribs, and a 118. And this last week, there were 11 at-bats, 1 rib, 291 batting average. Like, bro, what are you doing? That's a full-blown collapse. I hate having to drop him, but the fact that he's 73% owned is ugly. I understand in the deeper leagues, you can't really let that kind of talent go. But at the same time, there is streaming options out there that we can make a difference today. And Tristan Casas is hurting you. He's a negative investment as well. So, again, what do you think I'm going to press right now? Very simple.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
He needs to go. He is killing you, and he will be the reason why you don't make it. Listen, this is no friends, no winner takes all. You only got a week in front of you if you lose. You want to make it to next week, you want to go home with that belt. Tristan Casas ain't going to do it for you. Most of these guys I did say drop. It isn't like the rest, like last week's list. Like these are guys that are, probably owned or should not be as owned as they are. And I'm just looking at it and trying to take account of, okay, why are these guys here? What can I possibly see to help people, make a decision on cutting them? They're at the end of your bench and anyway, and you're feeling guilty for probably keeping them. Well, I hope that does it for you because I want to see everybody win their leagues. Unless you're in my league, then no, I don't want to see you win at all. I want to see you all be crushed by me. But if I'm not in your league, I want you to win. So, hopefully this helps you, cut the dead weight, say see you later to all the unperformers and, makes a difference. I think that this is a solid episode for everybody and one that I feel you should take very seriously. So that's the difference of making a championship. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here week in and week out. We're getting to the end here, which is absolutely crazy. I wish you guys all the best luck going into this week and next, if you make it to next. But yeah, if you like me so much, and Dom, can't forget Dom. Check out our boy Sully on Locked On MLB. Covers the whole league, gives a real baseball perspective, whereas we're just fantasy. So he does a great job breaking down the league and everything under the sun. So give him a watch. I promise you won't be disappointed. And guys, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, tell your friends, your mom, your dad, everybody under the sun. Scream it from the rooftops. Share our posts on social media. Spread the word because you're only as good as the information that's around. And if you can't handle having people having the same rankings as you, then you're not as good as you thought you were. Okay? So share us. See how good you really are by letting somebody else in on the dirty little secret that Locked On Fantasy Baseball is. All right, guys. With that being said, have a great rest of your day. Peace out.